Hey,
My name is Barbara Bonham.
and where do you live?
I live north of the church in Oakdale.
What are your hobbies?
Oh, I have lots of hobbies. I love to garden. It always reminds me of what God has made for us, the green earth. I bike ride, I read, I weave baskets, I make quilts. I have lots of hobbies.
What do you like to do with your family for fun?
Well, I like to show the kids, the grandkids, a bigger part of the world and what it's like to help others. They get some of that in their life, but I like to add more of that. So we go to places like Feed My Starving Children, we help out at food shelves, we do the sort of things that help them understand that there's a whole lot of need in the world, and God is calling them to help take care of things too.
Why did you come to this church?
When my husband Roger and I got married, we both moved from different homes to where we are today. And we started looking around, and it was a little bit like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Some churches were too big, some churches were too small, and this one was just right. And I was always amazed at the things that were going on behind the scenes. You know, we have our committees and we hear about those, but it's kind of amazing the people that are doing things without others really knowing about it. You know, like somebody takes care of all the flowers in the gardens, and somebody makes the little cloths that are given to each of the baptized children. And there's just a lot of things going on that I learned about when I was on council.
What is your name?
My name's John Rowland III.
And what do you do for a job?
I work as a project specialist, so I work with technology and process improvements for Anderson Windows.
What are some of the most important activities at LCP?
Well, social action for sure. I mean, I think that that's one of the things we're most well known for. You know, Project Home, you know, Carver Backpack Program, and you know, as Lisa, and as we saw this morning, Lisa talked about all the great presents that we have for Carver School. So I think this church is really well known for its social outreach in the community and you know, all the important activities that we do there.
And if you could change anything about this church, what would it be?
You know, one of the things that I just mentioned a couple minutes ago, talking about the social outreach of this church, you know, that energy that we have, you know, projecting out to the number of communities that, you know, intersect here. You know, we've talked, I know you'll be asking about committees and stuff as well, but I think it's important to have that same kind of energy manifested, you know, in interactions. I mean, it's great when you know you go to Montgomery Hall after the church service, but just I think the energy that we place in social outreach, kind of trying to reconfigure it in a way of like social inreach and you know getting members to become more well acquainted with one another. I think Barb Bonham's done a fantastic job with you know the welcome tables, you know, just efforts like that. I think the church members, we have so much to offer, and we're very interested and varied as well. I think it'd be great getting, you know, to focus more energy on getting to know one another as congregational members, as Christians.
What's your name?
My name's Deb Drew.
And where do you live?
I live in South Maplewood.
And what do you do for a job?
My job is, I'm a clinical nurse specialist at the University of Minnesota Medical Center.
And what do you like about your job?
There's lots of aspects I like about my job. I think the most important thing is to help people be more comfortable when they're in the hospital. So in other words, if they're in pain, and I can help them help decrease their pain while they're there, that's very satisfying. And it's also very important to me to help others know how to do that, so that anytime someone comes into the university hospital, that they have a better experience.
And what are some of the most important activities at LCP?
I think LCP shines in social justice, and whether that be Project Home or the connection of Culver School and helping support families who need food and support that way. So that's been a theme throughout the time we've been members here, and I think that's some of the most important work we do. And a spiritual compass in that it reminds me of Christ's message, and through the liturgy and through the Gospels. And I'd also hope that somehow we could help young people who are through confirmation and in that stage of trying to grow up and decide who they are, that they can also still feel a connection to the church. I'm concerned that sometimes our youth, once they're through with confirmation, then don't come to church anymore. And it's a time in their lives when I think it could be helpful to remain connected to the church, if it's meaningful to them.
What is your name?
I'm Sherry Johnson.
I'm Jerry Johnson.
And where do you guys live?
We live in Woodbury.
What do you like about this church?
I like the things that go on here. I like seeing all the kids involved in things, and all the things that you do are exciting. I like I think it's exciting, all the things we're doing for the community, the backpack program, and especially the block party. That's really fun in August. The people that are here, I think, are all concerned about the community and the world at large, and as I am, and we wanted to spread God's word and make it a better place. I think that the different schools is sometimes a barrier, but sometimes it's an advantage. It's a way to, you don't have to be with the same kids at your own school in the same clique, and you have a chance to meet new kids and do different things. And it seems to me that all the announcements anyway sounds like you have lots of things going on. So there are good things and bad things to everything, I guess. Have been in choir forever. Taught Sunday school, and I don't know. Just having fun. We're good. We've had been to lots of fun fellowship things too that used to happen. This is where we met our very best friends, and so Lutheran Church of Peace has just been the center of our life for a long time.
Well, as Sherry already said, we've been in church choir forever. I also have been in the church band for many years, so church music is a big part of our lives. I've been fixing things around this building since, I don't know, a long, long time, so that's how it kind of emerged into me, ultimately being the building manager to kind of continue what I've been doing along the way. So.
Hey,
Gail Ahrens.
and where do you live?
I live in Woodbury, just about a mile from church here, up the street.
And what do you do for a job?
Well, I'm retired now, but I've had many jobs over the years. I've been a daycare worker, I've been a secretary, I've cleaned model homes, and I was a model home hostess, which was my last job.
And tell me a little bit about your family.
Well, my husband and I got married 42 years ago, and we have a daughter, one daughter, 38 years old, and she has two boys, 15 and 8, and so that's our family. My husband and I had been married about 5 years, and we hadn't gotten into a church yet, but then we had our daughter Lisa, and we thought, whoa, we better get her baptized and get on this parent thing. That's the right thing to do. And so we looked for a church. We found LCP and felt very welcomed. So we joined here, and Lisa was baptized here in 1976.
And how long have you been at this church?
1976, so about 37, 38 years.
And what are some of the most important activities at LCP?
At LCP, I'd say between worship and service. There's so many outreach projects at church here. Right now we have Project Home in the church. And over the years we've had many types of outreach to the neighborhood, like the backpack program to feed the kids over at Carver School. And about 30 years ago we were active in the Loaves and Fishes program, which took place at Neighborhood House down on South Robert Street in West St. Paul area. And our church had a couple teams of people that would go once a month and make a meal for the folks down in that area that would come. And we did that for about 10 years. So it's sort of, and there's lots of other things that we do too, but those are some main things.
Do you know anything that other people might not know about the church?
Oh, okay. One silly thing is when my husband was treasurer between the 76 and 86, he would get the water bills from Woodbury, and we live in Maplewood here, or the church is in Maplewood. And he thought, why are we getting water bills from Woodbury if we should be getting them from Maplewood? And he found out that when the church was built, there wasn't any water came down from the water system from Maplewood, because there was hardly anybody living down here. They had their own wells. But Woodbury had this development right across the street. So they ran a water line underneath the street, and then we had water. So we still have Woodbury water, and we have the Church of Maplewood. So that's a fun one.
What is your name?
My name is Karen Franke.
And what do you do for a job?
I am a social worker. Of course, I like camping. I like to knit.
And why did you come to this church?
You know, we came here. We bounced around a little bit since the kids have been born. And we were looking for a church home that would be close to home so that the kids would be in Sunday school and affirmation classes with some of their friends or people that they live around. That was important to us. And to have kids in the parish was really important, as well as a good balance of younger people and older people. I like that Lutheran Church of Peace reaches up to the community and tries to help as much as they can with not only our neighbors, but with other people that are farther away.
And how long have you been at this church?
I think we've been here about 3 years.
And what does it mean to you?
It means that we don't always have to agree on things, but we can agree to disagree. It means that we're a family here and that we can accept each other's differences and embrace them.
What is your name?
My name is Steve Seelheimer.
And where do you live?
I live in Woodbury.
And what do you do for a job?
I work at Prairie Island Nuclear Power Plant. I'm a manager of one of the operating shifts.
And what do you like about your job?
I like my job because it makes me think a lot, and I do a lot of different things every day. They're interesting to me. I like to play harmonica, and I like to build things. I build guitar amplifiers. That's one of the things I do. And I like to take pictures.
And what are some of the most important activities at LCP?
To me, when I think of important activities at LCP, it's fellowship activities where we get together and do things together. Things like Sunday Night Live or meals and things like that. That's fellowship where we are a community together. And then service activities like Project Home or the Cover Backpack program, things like that, where we're serving other people. So that's the first part is our relationship with each other, and then the second part to me is about our relationship with our community and how we help them out.
Favorite memory about this church?
My favorite memory about this church is the day I got baptized in this church, because I wasn't baptized before I came here. So in 1997, on December 16th, I was baptized here, and I still.
My name is Darla Ramberg.
And where do you live?
I live in Maplewood.
And what are your hobbies?
I love reading. I love doing photography. I enjoy cooking, traveling, and playing hockey.
Tell me a little bit about your family.
Well, I have my parents, and I have a brother that I grew up with. And my family is all in Wisconsin still.
What do you do with your family for fun?
Do a lot of traveling with them. I try to take one trip a year with my parents to take them somewhere.
And what do you do in your spare time?
I enjoy gardening in the summertime. In the winter, I just learned how to do some quilting and sewing, so that's my new hobby I've been working on, cross-stitching.
And what sports do you do?
Summer, I love going bicycling. I enjoy playing tennis in the summer. In the winter, I play on a women's hockey team, and I like cross-country skiing in the winter.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
I first thought I was going to be a counselor at schools or doing a private practice. Well, if I go way back to when I was probably about 5 years old, I thought I'd be a horse jockey. But then I got too tall, so then I thought I would be a counselor. And then I decided not to do that, and I'd be a teacher instead, which is what I do now.
What do you cook?
Last night I made a homemade pizza. I enjoy making some Norwegian delicacies. I like to make lefse in the fall. It's kind of a family tradition. Otherwise, I enjoy really making anything from American foods like hamburgers to trying different Thai foods.
Do you do other, like, country food, like different states food, like Mexican food?
I do enjoy trying that as well. I usually keep things on the more mild side, not too spicy.
Why did you pick this church?
After moving into South Maplewood, it was close by. Before that, I was a member of a church called Our Savior's Church in Stillwater. And driving a half hour just seemed like a waste of time when I could spend the time in the community and get to know people. And also there was a person that I knew here that I used to work with, Sherry Johnston, and she was very welcoming.
And how long have you been at this church?
About a year and a half.
What is your name?
My name is Bill Schrupp.
What do you do for a job?
I work as in easy terms, I'm a computer guy. I'm a systems administrator.
And what sports do you do?
I'll watch baseball is probably my biggest one. Through the church, I've volunteered to work in the concession stand in previous years for the Minnesota Twins, and the hours that I work there come back to the church as a gift to the church. So I don't get paid anything directly, but I give my time to the concession stand, and the money that I would make comes to the church.
What do you like about being a parent?
The things I like about being a parent is I try to set an example of doing the right thing. I try to volunteer my time and show that doing things for other people makes me feel good. And when I do things like that, I hope that doing those things as a parent, that someday my kids will do the same, either for other folks or with their families when they have them, to be able to let them hopefully experience some of the same things that I've experienced. And it is a challenge being a parent, because there is no rule book on how to do it. You learn on the fly.
What do you like about this church, and what does it mean to you?
I like all the pastors that we've had. They're upbeat and lively. I like the atmosphere, the friendliness, and I'd hope to see those things in the future as we've had them in the past.
And what is your favorite memory about this church?
I would say my favorite memory probably revolves around some of the youth activities. Specifically, I was a mentor at one point for one of the confirmation students, and the highlight was probably going on one of the mission trips and seeing some of the youth grow and interact in their faith with others.